welcome to our presentation. Today we're going to be talking about the sustainability initiatives at United World Colleges. My name is Hannah Friedman and I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
My name is Gabe Trujillo and I'm from Clinton, Michigan.
My name is Jane Huber and I'm a first year from Bloomington, Minnesota. If you guys were wondering what UWC is, we talked about it a little bit. But one thing that's really important about our movement is the is the mission statement, which is
UWC makes education a force to unite people, nations, and cultures for peace and a sustainable future.
A what?
A sustainable future. A sustainable future. And these aren't just sort of like words that we splash on a page sort of make us look impressive. These are really things that the student body actively participates in. And this is something that's really become a major influence in the American campus, at least, is the sustainability efforts that we really began to integrate into almost all aspects of our schooling. A really cool example of sustainability that we began to utilize on campus is our use of apple trees.
So we have a ton of fruit trees all over campus, most of them apple trees, and they were planted by the Jesuit priests that used to live on the land before us. So every year the apples fall, and most of them are just completely wasted because people don't pick them up and eat them. So this year we started a club in which like 4 of us pick apples, and then we peel them, we core them, and then we can them to make apple pie filling. We use pretty traditional canning methods, but we just got a grant in which we now have a cider press and a dehydrator. So now we can make like all sorts of stuff out of apples. It's gonna be great. So another program that we have is.
Well, we raise chickens at UWC, and why is this sustainable? Well, this lowers our dependency on the egg industries in the United States, and right now, currently, we have 19 chickens on campus. And before we even think about having chickens on campus, we first had to build a place for them to stay. The coop that they live in and lay eggs and keep warm during the cold winter nights, we actually reused from one that was previously on campus, and then, as you can see here, there is a chain link fence, which is 10 by 10, which we were able to get a grant from town to allow the chickens to have a place for them to roam and just kind of hang around and scratch a little. The roof on top, as you can see, is used from recycled lumber that we found around campus, and then tin roofing on top is something we were able to reuse from campus. Another example of a sustainability project on campus that we've been really passionate about is the greenhouse, and I think Jane would like to talk to you a little bit about that.
Thanks, Gabe. The greenhouse that we have on campus is actually really cool because it was proposed by students and then built by students. It was designed in a solar passive design, which basically means that the greenhouse itself was built at a 33-degree angle so that during the winter time, the windows could absorb as much of the sunlight and naturally heat the interior of the greenhouse.
But then during the summertime, it doesn't absorb all that intense heat from the sun and it can stay cool. So it's like a way to regulate temperature. All of the materials that were used in the greenhouse are either local or they're recycled materials. And as you can see on the picture here, our greenhouse, like the flower beds themselves, are actually recycled student beds, which are actually recycled student beds, which weren't fit for students to sleep on anymore, but work fantastic for having plants. Another really cool thing that we recycled to make this greenhouse happen was the flooring. The floor is made out of all of recycled glass that we tumbled so that the edges were soft and so it wasn't like sharp for people to step on, and actually acts as a natural insulator between the interior of the greenhouse and the ground. And this is just a really cool example of how at UWC we use older, more traditional methods to innovate into new ways of sustainability.
The whole reason we're here is to talk to you about innovation and sustainability at the United World College. And one of the most amazing things about sustainability at UWC is that we're not really relying on new technologies. In fact, we're kind of going back to traditional techniques, and we're really utilizing these traditional techniques. And one example of this is the installation in the greenhouse. And what we do, we have straw. We took apart straw bales and we use those as insulation. And this is something that's been used for thousands of years by the
by the Native Americans here in New Mexico. So I thought that was kind of cool. But the key to our innovation is the interactions and the relationships between the different the different projects that we use. And at UWC, we have an isolated system, and the same thing could be said about sustainability at the United World College. We were able to track all the inputs and outputs from each individual project. And what's great about this is that the outputs from one project act as inputs for the next project. And what happens is we create a cycle from a whole bunch of different projects coming together, and it just becomes a self-perpetuating system. And one really good example of this is from the 3 projects that we showed before. Hannah, would you like to talk about that?
I would. When we're canning apples, not all parts of the apples we actually want to eat. Some of them have like worms or they're mushy or whatever. So we usually cut these parts out and then put them in a bin and then take them all the way up to the chicken coop. Apparently chickens really like apples.
Yeah, it's really surprising. It's a big for me feeding some chickens an apple. But that's really great for the chickens, but not so good for the apples. But I'm going to let you in a little secret here. When you give apples to chickens, do you know what they do? They poop. So, what we do every Wednesday, we get together and we clean out the chicken coop and we take out all of this excrement and we take it out to the scratching yard. From there, we use a deep litter method, as you can see, with all this recycled paper. And about once a month, maybe twice a month, we'll collect all of this and then we'll take it to the greenhouse where we can use it as compost.
And we actually, in the greenhouse, then use that compost to act as soil for a lot of the plants that we grow. But to sort of complete this cycle, one thing that we've actually done is use this composted soil to actually plant apple tree seedlings, which we can then grow into large enough apple trees so that we can then put them out in the orchard and then just perpetuate the cycle.
So really the main benefit that we're getting from the system is the lasting educational impact. So the inputs into all of these systems are like student labor, student ideas. Most of these ideas are all student ideas. Actually, I think they all are. Mm-hmm. And all the labor is completely student run, and we use like the recycled materials. But the output is so much more. Each student takes with them, as they graduate the school, a lifetime of sustainable knowledge that will then last with them as we travel throughout the world and do whatever we're gonna do. In closing, we really learn a lot. We take all the stuff that we learn in all of our different science classes and our different social science classes, and we really can apply it into the system that is our school. Thank you. Have a good day.